He was as rich as a rock star and lived in castles fit for a king. His halls were always full all over the world. Despite the flashy clothes, loud cheers, and bright lights, there was a story that no one saw coming. Classical music alone has never been enough to make even the biggest pop stars of today a $40 million business. For what reason then would his family's tears be caused by his huge wealth one day? At first he wasn't wealthy. When he was younger, he loved music. He was always around music because his dad was the conductor of the Munich Symphony Orchestra. He lived his life that way. But Andre knew right away that he didn't want to be quiet in a club that was too loud. It was time for something much more exciting, louder and bigger. One step at a time, Andre taught people how to clap, sing, and get up. In 1987, Andre did something very risky that could have made him famous or doomed him for good. He began the Johann Strauss Orchestra, which was not a small group playing quietly to get praise. It was a full-on show. The group quickly grew from 12 players to over 60 artists from all over the world. He played a lot of different kinds of music, not just traditional waltzes. For example, he played Strauss songs in the Macarena. It worked. A lot of people liked it. Ticket sales were very fast, and soon he was filling more than just theaters. He was filling halls and stadiums all over the world. No one thought it would come in so quickly. You could say that Andre was doing really well by the early 2000s. He was selling more records than big bands like ACT, Bruce Springsteen, and Coldplay. His shows made a lot of money every night, and all of his DVDs were gone in an instant. A lot of people paid a lot of money to see them and cheered like they were at rock concerts. The money Andre made from his business grew very quickly, making him the richest fiddler in the world. Not only that, Bird didn't hide his cash in a bank. He spent all of his money on making shows even bigger instead. When he built a $30 million set for his show at Vienna's Schönbrunn Palace in 2008, he put almost everything he owned at risk. Fans hoped that Rieu would make something with gold, crystal, and other fancy things that would look like something from a fairy tale. But that story almost cost him everything. The very high price almost put him out of business and quickly erased decades of profits. He had taken risks before, but this one almost broke him, but he didn't want to quit. Andre fixed his money problems slowly, one show at a time. He paid off his debts and made his shows even bigger and better. He became richer, smarter, and stronger in just a few years. He made his shows famous all over the world by streaming them in movie theaters, which brought in much more money. There were fans who paid a lot to be in the movies with him, even though they couldn't fly to see him live. Andre's income didn't just come back, it doubled, then tripled, and by 2023 it had grown to an amazing $40 million. Andre did make a lot of money. Marjorie, his wife, was with him from the start and was more than just his partner. Marjorie helped choose the locations, made the costumes, and planned the amazing stage sets that people all over the world saw. They built an entertainment company that became a real family business by working together to make each show unique. When he became vice president of Rieu Productions, their son Pierre also took on a big job. The business became more like a singing family because of this. Andre always remembered where he came from, even though his shows were very popular. In Maastricht, he lived in a castle that was built in 1452. A real castle. Yes, not just any house though. It was said that D'Artagnan of the Three Musketeers ate his last meal there before dying in battle. He had dreamed about having it since he was a kid, and now he had it. Everything was fixed up with a lot of money, and he turned it into a dream house with art that was worth a fortune and chandeliers that sparkled. It felt like something out of a movie, but Andre lived it every day. He didn't slow down even though he had a lot of money. He went on a never-ending tour of the US, Europe, Australia, and Japan, adding more shows all the time. His trips, crowds, and wealth grew every year. He was no longer just a singer. He was famous, a worldwide hit whose name turned into a money-making machine that could not be stopped. Andre had a strange habit. He baked all the time, even though he was famous and rich. Andre did something that no one saw coming. He started baking cakes and giving them to his neighbors during the lockdown in 2020. Concerts had to be canceled and millions of dollars in ticket sales were lost overnight. It wasn't flashy or fancy, it was just kind and easy way to remember that the man behind the big company still cared about people and the little things in life. But Andre had more money than that. When Andre got sick with an ear infection in 2010, things almost fell apart again. His whole business depended on him acting all the time. Doctors couldn't believe he wasn't sick sooner given how busy he was. His family finally got it. It was so simple to lose all this money. Their whole plans depended on Andre's health. If he got sick or had to cancel the tour, it could cost them millions of dollars right away. A lot of stress was there, but Andre got better and kept going. He wasn't ready to slow down and was set on making music and money. The stress got worse though. Fans thought Andre was happy and easy to work with, but his family was having a hard time running a tens of millions dollar business and were taking risks that no one knew about. There were risks with every big show, and it cost a lot of money for sets, sites, bands, and ads. If something went wrong, Andre's whole project could be in danger. Then there was one more secret. Andre made a lot of money from more than just shows. To build a huge real estate business, he had been buying expensive homes all over Europe for millions of dollars without anyone knowing. Many of his fans knew about the Maastricht Castle, but not as many knew how big his real estate business had become. The Maastricht Castle wasn't just any old house, it had a lot of important history connected to it. It was built in 1452 and belonged to Charles de Batz Castelmore d'Artagnan, who was the real-life model for the famous musketeer in the Three Musketeers. He thought this place wasn't very fancy when he first saw it though. His first time here was when he was 6 years old for piano lessons. Trust me, it wasn't love at first sight. It was dark, broken, and a little scary. That's not at all where you want to live your best life. After a long time, that scary old castle was fixed up and turned into a beautiful estate straight out of a fairy tale. It turned into the capital of Andre's kingdom. In his castle in Maastricht, Andre surrounded himself with nice things that most of us only see on Netflix. You should take the Stradivarius violin he has. This one is different because it was made by Antonio Stradivari in 1692. Andre bought his third Stradivarius in 2018 for a huge £7 million. His first one was made by Stradivari in 1667 and was one of the first ones he owned. It was hard to play though. He still used it to make some of his best records, even though the sound was rough. He was really good at music and loved it. He owned several violins that were worth a lot of money. Plus, Andre didn't just live a fancy life with songs. He chose everything about his shows, even what the musicians wore. What were those pretty dresses his female players wore? He made each one by hand, getting ideas from real people like Empress Elizabeth of Austria. The fact that these dresses cost around £3,000 wasn't a joke. You can see why Andre was once in debt because of his stage designs when you think about how many musicians play on each tour. Yeah, going out of business. Do you remember that crazy stage set he built for his Vienna shows in 2008? It was an exact copy of Schönbrunn Palace, down to the waterfalls, ice rinks, gold carriages and fancy ballrooms with dancers. Doesn't that sound epic? Epic isn't free though. It was a terrible waste of £34 million for Andre. Not only did he make one set, but three. He then took them on tours around the world, which cost a lot of money and gas. It was cool and flashy, but it almost killed him. He finally met with his boss at the bank to talk about how they could get money to pay their huge bills. He got through that hard time though, and came back stronger than before. You couldn't stop this guy, did he? It looked like everything was fine and calm at home. Not too different from how things would be in a real house. They had been married since 1975 and had 2 boys together, Mark and Pierre. People thought of the good old days when Andre was just starting out because there were happy family pictures on the castle walls. Now though, his family was a big part of his business. His shows had scripts that Marjorie wrote. They changed the music and touched people all over the world. Pierre, their younger son, really stepped up and became vice president of Rieu Productions. It might have looked like family dinners were just getting together, but they were really meetings of the board. Business people and family members ate together every meal. Andre had a fancy life and ate a lot of tasty desserts, but his childhood wasn't very good. As a child in Maastricht, I lived in a small crowded house with 5 boys. He didn't love his dad very much, but he led the music. Even tougher is his mom. They made fun of Andre's natural talent because he learned to play the violin so well in just a few weeks after he turned 5. Making music helped him get through the hard times, but the scars made him want to be bigger, get more praise and spend more money. It was clear that Andre wanted to prove himself when he first started out. The first group he put together was just 12 people, and they played at weddings and small restaurants in 1978. It was tough to get cash. Some people weren't even looking up from their food, so no one saw them. There were times when Andre almost gave up music completely. He joked about opening a pizza place instead. Picture Rieu carrying a violin while bringing pizza to Paganini's table. He had a lot of fans around the world though, because he kept writing songs. In 1987, Andre changed his band and made the well-known Johann Strauss Orchestra. His hero was Johann Strauss, who was known as the original waltz king and proved that artists could also be very good at running a business. 5 musicians played at the same time for Strauss. Andre finally picked one huge orchestra, which is now the biggest orchestra he owns himself in the world. With sold-out shows in America, Asia and Europe, they went on tour all over the world. When Andre played in a famous soccer game in 1995, he became famous very quickly. In the Champions League final between Bayern Munich and Ajax, Andre was smart enough to buy a minute of live TV time during halftime to play his music. It was great that Ajax scored right before halftime. A lot of people watched live TV Andre play Shostakovich's Waltz No. 2. After just 1 week he sold over 200,000 CDs, making him a star all over the world. When he scored the right soccer goal at the right time, his whole life changed. Dreams came true as they got bigger. Andre spent a lot of money making sure that his shows were the most amazing events possible. He used fake snow, balloon drops and fancy ball gowns. Every show was a crazy party. It was said that he insisted on serving real champagne at shows, even though he didn't drink it himself. To keep things real. People really liked the show. Andre didn't mind that some people thought he was funny. He searched for the truth, not any quick fixes. Do not act fake. Andre kept things real even though he was safe. For fun he read Tintin books and crime novels in Spanish while school was out. He also still loved a simple toy truck from his childhood. He thought about how he and his brother Robert used to make cars out of old wheels and scrap wood when this truck was just a toy. But Andre wasn't just a rich man from the past. His mind was on what would happen next. Andre's orchestra was bigger than ever, with 60 musicians and a huge staff of helpers. It was now the biggest private orchestra in the world. A lot bigger. He wasn't pleased with having the most sales of any classical artist in the world or having sold 40 million records. He wanted to do something that had never been done by an artist before. He wished very much to put on a show on the moon. That is correct. You did hear that. The moon. Andre, it wasn't a joke. Rich man Richard Branson, and he even talked about putting a hotel on the moon. Branson told them he would do it. People know that he makes crazy plans. What is his name? No instruments were going to be left out of his huge Johann Strauss orchestra. They were going to play the first concert ever held in space. When you thought about the fact that this person sold more classical music than Beyoncé and Metallica, it seemed crazy. Rieu was the only one who could make a concert happen on the moon. But how did Andre become so driven and successful? A lot of classical groups get their money from schools or wealthy donors, but Andre paid for everything himself. He didn't have much in the late 1980s. He only had a crazy dream and a few close friends who thought he was real. Andre did a lot of risky things from the start. He gave all the money he made from selling records and tickets back to the group because he didn't have any sponsors or help from the government. He has to spend at least $1 million a month on this huge business, and that doesn't include the money he spends on trips. That meant every show had to be full, and every record had to be #1. Everything would fall apart in an instant if they didn't. A lot of people like musicians, lighting techs and cooks, were hired full-time by Andre. On top of that he hired 100 more freelancers from around the world to help with planning, traveling, and marketing. It was a family, not just a business. His second family, one that went around the world with another person and set up and took down huge stage sets in stadiums from Sydney to Mexico City. For each city there had to be 9 big cars, each packed with lights, costumes, instruments, props, and other stuff. Without stopping, his team would often begin setting up the stage at 7 a.m., then taking it down right away at midnight, when the 3-hour show was over. For the crowd, every show was like magic. But the people who worked behind the scenes had to work very hard. The rules were very strict. No acting like a rock star is okay. The people on his team had their own cooks go with them on trips, so they could eat healthy food. Andre himself slept before every show to stay awake. He knew that one bad show or being too tired at night could cost him a lot of money and hurt his reputation. After every show, Andre made sure that his artists and he had a party. It wasn't a crazy champagne party. It was just good wine and casual chat. This wasn't just work for Andre, it was his whole life's work. They worked hard and never stopped, and it paid off. It's common to stream and download music these days, but Andre's albums still sold a lot of copies. He had worked with his record company Universal Music for more than 20 years, and the results were great. Andre sold more than 40 million albums around the world in 20 years. Most of the time, pop stars are the only ones who sell this many records. Lots of people said DVDs were dead, but Andre's fans still bought a lot of them every year, especially ones with videos from his famous Maastricht summer shows. Every year he carefully edited videos of these shows, and fans rushed to buy them. Andre thought this showed that his fans always liked real things they could hold. Andre wasn't just a great singer, he knew how to give his fans what they wanted. He put out a lot of them. Albums like the famous movie themes collection, which had hits like My Heart Will Go On. He said he didn't write much original music because he liked to change well-known songs and make them his own. It's always worked this way. He put out a lot of records that were all big hits. This helped his business grow and made sure that all of the musicians and crew members got paid on time every month. It wasn't easy to keep up this level of success though. Andre was always under a lot of stress to keep filling seats and selling songs. He couldn't make any decisions, because he didn't have any backers or donors. He couldn't afford to slow down, even when the shows had to stop because of a worldwide illness. Andre changed his plans and began making cakes for his friends and people in his neighborhood. He stayed happy and in touch this way. In his spare time he thought of even bigger projects, like showing The Dream Continues, the movie he made for his 75th birthday, on a big screen in 2025. People from all over the world had seen shows from Andre's trips, but they had never been shown in public before. There was a big party to honor his amazing rise from a kid in Maastricht with big dreams to a popular hero around the world. His success was due to hard work, following rules, and taking risks that no one else would. He never tried to hide it. Edgar Kaman, his Jewish father-in-law, had a huge effect on him because he played music he had never heard before on his 300 vinyl records. Many people who never thought they'd like classical music saw his shows because of these songs, which changed his style. A Jewish klezmer song called Hava Nagila was a big hit at Andre's shows. On YouTube alone, more than 14 million people saw him sing this song. Even when he was famous, Andre never forgot where he came from. He played everywhere, even in Israel, where people stood up and cheered when he sang popular Israeli songs like Jerusalem of Gold. He had a big party on his 75th birthday by having his whole orchestra play on a boat party that went through Maastricht where he grew up. People from all over the world watched movies with acts from many of Andre's great shows over the years. No one thought Andre would be able to build such a big private orchestra, become famous all over the world, and get so rich that his family was scared and happy. At the same time,